Hello and welcome everyone to session 2 on day 4 of the Big Blue Button 2022 World Conference. This is the last day of the conference for this year, and thank you everyone for attending and supporting our efforts and building community with us throughout this week. For this session, we're going to welcome Lucas Mozek. Lucas is the chairperson of the board for the European BigBlueButton Association, which was founded to create a framework for providing better collaboration and workflows. Lucas founded, or European BigBlueButton Association was founded in April 2021, and Lucas is going to share the activities going on within eBBBA and the organization's goals for the next year. Feel free to put your questions and comments in the chat throughout the presentation, and we'll get to them at the end. Thank you, Lucas.
Thank you, everyone, for joining the session. I see there is already some people in the room and joining more. So welcome, everyone. My name is Lucas. I'm speaking to you from as close to Zeewolde, Amsterdam, in the Netherlands, from a hacker camp that we are just now building up. So basically a city for 3,500 people, and it's all about privacy, open source, and open data. And there we are. We are finding us together for the best open source tool for video conferencing. We are very proudly representing it, installing it, using it in plenty of schools, universities in Germany. I'm sure you are familiar that over 1 million active students user we have. And yeah, so we always very thankful for all the work from Fred and the whole Big Blue Button team. From our background is that during the pandemic, there was a group firstly founded by Holger. It was an administrator helping group, for all the administrators that had to quickly set up Big Blue Button for their institutions, work, schools, universities. And it was a great support system for us to exchange quickly best practice, sharing how to scale it, how to implement it, and then seeing how easily this was adjustable for all our needs. So then over time, this became a very big success. We have many, not only members, but we have a lot of activity, which is very important. So at the end, we saw and understood also the potential in our group, and therefore there was decided by the initial group to found an association, which is now finally through after 11 months of bureaucracy. So we are not only an association, but also registered as a non-profit. And it's not only for most members are in German-speaking countries, as Austria, Swiss, and German. But we are at the European BigBlueButton Association, so we are by definition intending to coordinate the activities on a European scale and make also the life of Fred and the team much easier. And yeah, so therefore I would like to introduce you to eBBA.org, which is our representation on as a website. Stands for European BigBlueButton Association. And there you can see also our mission statements, what we intend to do. But most important is also the section with our working groups, which we invite you to join. So our current main working groups are in accessibility and usability, which is a very important topic, and therefore we dedicate the first working group on this specifically. A second one is for grants and funding, because Fred is saying, there are many opportunities, but we saw that some developments took place in parallel, and then to not constantly reinventing the wheel, but coordinating the efforts, not only money-wise, but also working effort-wise and energy-wise. That is the dedication of this working group. And then also we see it very important to have a public relation group that gives this whole activity more visibility, and especially to give the amount of end users the visibility for such a great solution. So not just celebrating each instance with saying we have 300, 500 plus users successfully run in some sessions, but collectively we are really supporting the efforts of lessons, teaching, conferencing, collaboration for millions of people, and to give this visibility and a voice. And of course, very, very important is the foundation on technical support. That means like the requirement management of the community, because the community has like a very diverse needs, which then also can be through the collaboration and exchange streamlined. So, and then we communicate this back to the core team. And not only that, we have a wish list and tell them, hey, this is what we need. It is like that we have a lot of people that are very much capable of creating the bits and bytes to push code for towards Fred and the team. And such an example was presented yesterday by one of our members, Elias Hakrat, and he was talking about the Ansible role that we, as eBBA, have collectively like generated. So it is making your life much easier. And yeah, we would love that in future we all can like coordinate our efforts and become like much more efficient. And we very much like the development. So it's like not only in scalability, but especially in adjustability. So we've been touring around some universities and received the feedback that it saved their lives during the pandemic because they had to do it very quickly. And not only in the sessions where they do the teaching, but also when they had like the exams set up. So a setup that is like GDPR conform and very much specifically created for the purpose of each professor, let's say, on that level. So I would keep it short for today. We would very much love to get in touch with you and learn from you what your activities are doing. But basically, this is like a two-way exchange. So we are very much also impacted by your questions. And yeah, we are looking forward to connect and improve the whole ecosystem. So thank you very much for the session. And yeah, we are open for questions from the chat. I see there is a question, why there is explicit an European BigBlueButton Association. So yeah, we started as first as a group for the German-speaking countries. That was the easiest collaborate with at the beginning. Then it accelerated positively. It became like many. And then we thought like, okay, let's give it like more a house, an association that is like not just on the shoulders of one single person to organize the regular meetings and exchange the working group, but we wanted to go further with creating working groups and coordination. So that is like a lot of effort, we found out. But for that, we had the intention to create an association. And in that conversation, we found out that why just limiting it to the German-speaking countries? And as in our other projects, we have very strong exchange links with other European countries, and we have seen their success integration and rollouts. We intended it as started as a European BigBlueButton. So that was just the scope of our reach that I would give this an answer. So that's where we are linked with other projects. And like now I'm on a hacker camp in the Netherlands. We are from Spain to Eastern European countries, very well connected, and think that we can then coordinate it much more efficient instead of having many multiple associations. Yes, with like how many universities are applying it, it is really surprising. Also, maybe you can check on our website the map that we have created. It is a first version that some of our members also requested, and we said like, hey, we would really like to make it visible. How many locations we just like serving, and this number is like growing already on a European level, and that's a great example to give it a visibility, like how quickly adopted it is. On the other side, we are also like interacting with German entities and ministries as like they are having reference documents being created, like for example, the community draft for the minimal standards for video conference systems in Germany from the institution that's called BSI, which will become like in the future even more important in terms of like all privacy definitions and activities. So that was already a very successful interaction with that entity. Oh, the question is where we are registered. That's in Berlin. That was due to one of our members had founded already another association there and was familiar with the regulation. And still, it took us like 11 months of bureaucratic ping pong. But now we are like registered in Berlin as a nonprofit. Yes, there was another question with like the specific of the GDPR conform setup of BBB. We have some success stories to share that there is like press releases from privacy counselors. It's like from our Bundesstaaten, like Germany has 16 states, and of 2 of them there was like expressed that the last schools that's still operating on Microsoft Teams have to switch up until end of the summer holidays to an open source conferencing tool. And as basically BigBlueButton was mentioned there. So this is also where we give support to the schools in terms of like if they don't have any experiences with that setup anymore, and we connect them with experienced administrators from other schools and universities. Great. Yeah, thank you very much. Yes. Oh, there is this question like, do you see school hosting their own BigBlueButton service? Yes, because it is very easy, they told us. We have universities that run hundreds of servers for tens of thousands of students. And we have also like contact to entities that control the server parks for hundreds of schools. So it's like in some states there is some concentration of these efforts, and it is like, let's say, centralized. But on other sides, we are also like supporting individual schools and have reach out or good contacts. Like the administrators are basically members of eBBA and exchanging with the other members. So we have questions with like a first setup. We have questions in like in increasing quality, adjusting setups, but also like we have on the higher spectrum, like for bigger sessions, requests, and even up to how to set it up when there is a demand for streaming with hundreds or tens of thousands of people. And there is also some effort started now about that. Yeah, but we have the obvious requests from the communities are of course the iOS versions, the Apple versions of the app. And yeah, I'm sorry for the background noise. Maybe here is like we are in the middle of building up a city, a conference city for 3,000 people, and it starts tomorrow. What's the question about that? Yeah, there is one member in the chat even expressing that company sponsored a couple of BBB servers for legal grade and middle schools. So first graders use BBB with the help of their parents, and that it went well and got good feedback. That's great to hear. Yeah, and such success stories, they need just like presence and also a repetition. Like they need to roll out and not just like by how to say excuse, but by controlled version. So it's like, so we want to do everything more systematically and make it all easier to automate with the automatization, and the BBB Ansible role is like the best example for that. Awesome questions. Thank you so much. Yeah. Thanks. So basically, we are so successful because of the community, and yeah, we participate at such events quite often. organizing other events and collectively collaborating with other initiatives. And I think that's the biggest push, when we can show each other's approaches, each other technologies, learn from each other, and improve what we are also using on a daily basis. Is there any other questions? Yeah, so it's like, so we would like to invite you to become a member of eBBA, then to join the technical coordinated exchange, but also like in terms of like promoting BigBlueButton when it comes to governmental institutions, and also like politicians, to make them aware that such a great solution is in existence, and then also like make it visible in which countries it is successfully rolled out, and yeah, make a good stage for this good example so others easily can join.
How does someone become a member of European BigBlueButton Association?
Yeah, thank you for the questions. It's like, so now that we are officially like launched and approved by Stamp, everything, we open up like the member section on the website, and yeah, the website will be like also up to date. We had our first General Assembly at the University of Klagenfurt at Wörthersee in Austria. So also thank you for all the members that joined us there. It was a really wonderful time to see each other in real life after 2 years of virtual collaboration. That was really amazing. And also to see what other projects you are into and how passionate you are about BigBlueButton. And that was, yeah, that was really like inspiring. And yeah, the process is like automatized already, like becoming members. So it's like you're signing up on that section, you will receive like a notification for all the instructions, and we can also like join you to all the channels and the working groups that you define.
And does someone have to be in Europe to become a member of the European BigBlueButton Association?
Honestly, no. So it's like, so we wanted to express our scope of activity, but we would not do any limitation. Like if we would receive a request from outside of Europe, of course, we would add that member, because at the end it is like about supporting the efforts and learning from each other. So no, we would not exclude anyone outside of Europe. You're very, very much welcome, and that's the more the better. And we are, yeah, combined by the effort. I think one of the last question, maybe you can clarify. Oh yeah, so it's like there is another question. Maybe I move that first. What do you see as your main goals this year for eBBA? So honestly, it is like also defined by the new members, so which we like just start to join. So it's like it's not only based on the existing administrators in the group, and the new members will like bring a new wave of interests. We are very looking forward to have this new input. Currently, from the existing members, it is like the improvements, also like in iOS, in all the efforts that are done by Fred. But especially, like for example, on my side, it is also the visibility of at the governmental level. So it's like in Germany would be at Berlin, but also at Brussels, and to make them aware about this already existing approach, but also like giving a look out what is potentially possible if they would really decide to coordinate it, having bigger rollout. The question was specified, and I just have to ask you if I understand you right. If I understand you right, that it's meant that when we coordinate like the funding that then leads into the creation of new features. So that is the intention of like eBBA. So it's like, because we are aware that there are many entities not only using eBBA, BigBlueButton, but had their feature requests. So then they had their funding and then they do it alone. And through eBBA, they can do it in a coordinated way. So they can come to us, tell us what they want, how much they want to invest for it. And then this will be shared with the other members. So it's like a reach out of who else wants to join that efforts, right? Who is in need, who wants to lead this work, who wants to join the work, and who wants also to chip in with the costs, and then combine the efforts. Okay, understand. There was another question that yesterday some people discussed how to migrate from Google Groups as main forum of the BBB project, and that the proposal was to establish a matrix space for BBB channels, where eBBA may be one of it. So I just read the expression from the chat. Yeah, this has to be discussed, like also what's best for the programmers, and that I would say like that's not to decide by eBBA or just by the board. That has to be decided like for the community. I think that's not up to now to answer. But yeah, it's important to raise that question. Yeah, thank you, Lars. Awesome. Even Fred is now writing. Okay, we can work on that, and that matrix is going to take over the world. Yeah, it really looks like that. So eBBA is using matrix. So it's like that's how we have the coordination. Yes, but it's a German language channel currently, and especially like for the reach out and the accessibility for international members. We will have another channel also in English. And now then it's like how to coordinate that one discussion is not getting lost and is being transferred to the other one. But that's makeable. We don't see any troubles in there. Okay, cool. So thank you very much for joining the session, and we are very much looking forward to hear from you. So it's like you can find our contact details on the website. I shared it in the channel, the link, and I can mention it again. It's like eBBBA.org, and please reach out to us. We can have a call very soon, and we would love to hear where you're from, what you do, and how the best way we can integrate your efforts into making BigBlueButton even better and having an even wider reach. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lucas. That was a fantastic presentation. And, you know, as we've all been saying throughout this whole conference, like this is what it's about, right? This collaboration and bringing people together to, you know, make everything just so much better, BigBlueButton and all of these servers and everything. So thank you so much for your presentation. I'm going to put the link in the chat for the next session, which will be starting in a few moments. So that link is in the chat now, and everyone can click on that if they're interested in joining. That session is with Lars Kiesau. He is a software engineer, and he'll be talking about using OpenCast as a video management system for BigBlueButton recordings. So thank you so much, everyone. I'm going to stop the recording, and I hope to see everyone at the next session.